So this is me. I'm Micki with Micki Woods Marketing. I originally started in this industry because I owned my own shop. So I owned my own shop for about 4 years. The recession hit during that 4 years. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to hang on to it. But after purchasing the shop or owning the shop, then I went and became a full-time marketing, advertising, social media manager for Valley Motor Center Auto Body out in Van Nuys, California. After working with them, I then went independent and had the opportunity to be able to write for Body Shop Business Magazine, which is where some of you guys know me from. So I do work with shops all across the country, and it's just an amazing experience to be able to work with all different people, all different walks of life. Every shop is very, very different in what their needs are, what their goals are. But at the end of the day, body shops are body shops. You know, business is business. And the goal is to be bringing you money and to be able to be the best shop we can be, providing the best quality and all of that kind of thing. So I write articles at Body Shop Business Magazine about a wide variety of topics, how to develop your business. I also do like social media, websites, logo design, branding, but at the crux of all of it, it's marketing and growing your business and being the best you can be. So today we're going to talk about marketing your OE certifications. So if you had the opportunity last time to be on my call, we talked about how your shop can be ready to start getting OE certifications. And some of you had certifications, some of you didn't. So we talked about some great ways to kind of get started on that path. And then some things to do to dial it in, even if you had certifications. So now this webinar, we're going to talk about how to market those OE certifications now that you've got them. And I actually did write an article, which is going to be kind of an abridged version of what we talk about today. It was called I'm Certified, Now What? How to leverage your OEM certification once you've made the investment. So I know that a lot of you guys have spent a ton of money on getting certified and put out this big outlay of money. And then it's like, okay, now what? And it's kind of like back in the day when people used to think of, well, I created a Facebook page, so it's just going to march business to my door. And it doesn't. You've actually got to do something with it, right? So here we are with certifications, and we realize we've spent all this time, we've spent all this money, and now we want to get a return on that investment. So we're going to chat a little bit about how to do that. So let me share back my screen again. And then if you were on my last call, we did talk about the 4 stages of certification. So we've got the guy up in the top who basically is learning about certification and wondering, you all are nuts, that costs how much? And then you finally take the plunge and you come down to the guy in the bottom, and on the bottom left, he got certified, but now he's just got money coming out of his wallet every which way. So today we're going to talk about how we take you from the bottom left over to the bottom right. And it's going to be a process that is not going to happen overnight, but there are some great things that you can be putting into place to be working on that. So let's chat about it. So our biggest problem today with certification is nobody knows what a certified shop is, right? So if you go out to the general public and you're talking with them and you're like, oh, you have a Ford? I'm a certified Ford repair facility. They're like, whoopity-dee, good for you. What does that even mean? Again, if you were on my last call, you know how I feel about this. The general public has no clue what a certified shop is. And at this point, they don't really care. So when we're talking about marketing your certifications, a big part of that is going to be education, right? The problem right now is in the public, if you're talking about being certified, people are like, oh, what do you got to go get your CPR certification? Are you getting certified in teaching? They're not correlating certification with body shops. And when you put the two together, it means nothing. That's tricky. So when I wrote the article, that was back in October 2019, the cover story there, we were just running some metrics, and Ford certified auto body was only searched 10 times that month in the nation. So that goes to show you how little people are looking for certified shops. Now there is a little caveat to that. if you have Tesla owners know they're a little bit different. They know their vehicles are different and they're not the average vehicle. So that's one place where you'll find more people actually seeking out certified shops. But if you're not, and it's really any other line of vehicle, you're going to find that they just don't know. And they are just, again, they're not caring because they just don't care. They're not caring because they don't know that they need to care, right? So let's talk about today's agenda. We've got, first of all, we're going to talk about where are our guests coming from? We need to know that. Then how can we market to those guests? Then how can we educate our guests and our partners? Because obviously that's a big problem right now. And then we're going to finish it off with what not to spend your money on at this time, that a lot of my shop owners think they should be spending money on, but they shouldn't. So you definitely want to listen to that one. I was going to do a poll today, but I don't think Kristen probably had that set up because I sent it to her way late last night, but I'd like for you to at least be thinking about this in your mind. Do you know where your customers and your guests are coming from? Are you doing what in the business we call sourcing? The reason I ask about sourcing, and if you're trying to find out where your customers are coming from, because in all marketing efforts, it's not, if you have anybody that's experienced in marketing, it's not just throwing things out there to see what sticks. It's first and foremost knowing where your audience is, where your consumer is, so you can go meet them where they're at. You don't want to be shouting from the rooftops, "Hi, here I am," when your people are way over on the other side of the field, right? So it's a great thing when it comes to marketing to source where those leads, where your customers are coming from. And I typically have my shops do it through CCC. So in CCC, there's a lot of different forms and little spaces where you can fill out where your customers are coming from. You can even talk to CCC if you want to make it like really robust and have a bunch of options. That way, at the end of the month, you can print out a report and see, okay, these customers came from, or this customer came from State Farm. The insurance company sent them, and their agent is this agent. And then you can look back, or this dealership sent, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that Subaru sent 10 cars last month. And I didn't realize that Bob Schneider, my farmer's agent, sent over 3 people last month. Sometimes you just don't know because you're not asking the questions. So when we talk about marketing and we talk about growing your business and all that kind of stuff, it's really a great tool if you can implement with your front counter, your CSRs, or your writers, depending on the size of your shop, a way to start honing that in and finding out where your people are coming from. It's really important. It's something that's a little bit uncomfortable at first because you're not used to it if you're not doing it, but it's definitely something that would pay dividends if you started. So let's talk about when you have your customer come in, before they've chosen to come to you, let's think about talking about meeting them where they're at. If they're not a repeat customer and a loyal customer, like we talked about last time, how are they figuring out what shop to choose? So first of all, and this is not in a specific order because some people's behavior is different. In some areas I find are more likely to go to their agent. Some demographics, they just call the 800 number. So anyway, this is in no particular order. They can be calling their insurance company. They can be contacting their dealership. So whether that's the salesman that sold them their vehicle, just calling and talking to the lady at the front desk and answers the phone, or their service writer that they go to. Oftentimes they call the dealership and say, where should I send my vehicle? I've gotten into an accident. And then oftentimes they usually finish with, although not always, but they will go and check your online reviews. So back in the day when we were DRP driven, it was you call your insurance agent, they basically tell you where to go and you go. Nowadays, you may call your insurance company and find out what shops are in your area that you can go to, but then you're going to go as a consumer and research them on Yelp and Google and see what kind of reviews they have. So it's super important to be maintaining those. But again, this is why it's important to source them to know kind of what are we dealing with here, right? And what do I need to focus on? So first and foremost, let's talk about our insurance partners. Insurance partners aren't as big now as they were before when we are, because we're just a different landscape. And now that they've created the call centers, if you have DRPs, you know your agents aren't sending over big work like they were before. You could go kiss ass to some insurance agents and get a lot of work because people are still calling their insurance agents. Well, they still are, but not at the same level that they had been. So how can we market to our insurance partners about our certifications? So here's a 5x7 card I created for Premier Coach Auto Collision out in Southern California. So actually the way that this kind of started, and well, let me show you this since it's up on the screen. So this is a 5x7 card. This is older. They do have more certifications now, but it has a list and some pictures of all the certifications. And if you're BMW and you're on this call, don't worry, the logo's been changed. But for the sake of this training session, you do want to make sure you're using the proper logos and whatnot, but you've got to be able to let your local insurance agents know, especially if you're a DRP with them, that you are certified in whatever lines of vehicle. You could have one certification, but you want your insurance partners to know if you have DRPs. So this is what I would recommend. I'm not going to get into insurance and all of these processes in a massive way because we will have another webinar coming up where we talk more about being involved in the community, and this is one of those things. We'll talk about them. So let me kind of walk you through the process. Then, mind you, I've been doing this and marketing to agents and dealerships and that kind of stuff for like 10 years now. I've been around the block. I've tried a lot of things. So I'm just going to share with you a few little insider tips on what's worked for me in my shops. And for you in your shops, maybe it'll be a little bit different, whatever. Feel free to tweak it as you want. But what I did with most recently, because certifications are newer on the horizon, is we created like an 8.5 by 11 laminated sheet with all the certifications on it for, this was my local shop, Premier Coach, that I could take out to the insurance agents. Now, I had not been marketing insurance agents and somebody else hadn't been doing it for a long time, but wanted to touch base with them and let them know, hey, for this particular client, we are State Farm Select Service Repair Facility, but we also have all of these certifications. Oh, and they're like, oh, I had no idea. Mind you, here we go back to marketing and education. Even your insurance agents don't understand the importance of certified versus not certified. So again, it's an education thing here on every level. Whenever we're marketing certification, you always have to know that education just goes with it. They're just tied hand in hand. So the first time I went out, we created these laminated sheets because people are way less likely to throw away something that's made of kind of like a plastic. They can pop in their drawer and pull it out as they see fit. So the first time I went out, I just introduced myself, let them know the shop that I'm with, went through the certifications, and just quickly said, you know, you probably already know this, but let me share with you anyway. Certified means, and kind of went through the whole thing. It means we've got specialized technicians and we have access to all of the parts that your client may need on their vehicle. We have to have special tooling. So you kind of explain to them like what your shop has gone through, all of these lengths that you have gone through to become certified, because it's a big deal. To become certified, it's a big deal. You have to go through a lot. You and I know it, but they have no clue. Oh, you're certified. So what? You sent a piece of paper in and said you've got technicians that can work on these vehicles? Okay. No, let them know the amount of, you don't have to tell them how much money, but how much time and the resources. And you had to send your technicians went to training in other states, and it was a 5-day training course on welding and it, you know, whatever, kind of get into it and give them some nitty gritty details. They will appreciate it. They need some knowledge, and the more knowledgeable they are, they're able to help their customers, right? So it's a win-win. So you're helping them, which helps them help their people. And then when their people come to you, it makes the full circle. So like I said, first step would be take your laminated card if you've got one, or take something that they're not just going to pitch, right? And then at the same time, take your business cards with you and trade. I often find throughout the course of the years and trying everything imaginable, instead of just saying, hey, can I get your business card? Do you mind if I take one of your cards? They're like, oh, good. So now you can spam me, right? But if you take your own card and say, here's my card, do you mind if we trade? They're much more likely to be like, oh yeah, sure, because now they have your information. So you're not just some person behind some veil that just is going to bug them. You're creating that relationship. So that's what I would recommend first and foremost. If you have pens, notepads, mouse pads, whatever, you can throw some of those. They love gifts. They love to feel special. And anyway, so that's a great little first step. Second step would be to go back and drop off those smaller cards I was showing you. Those cards are great because they can keep those handy in a little desk drawer. And I have seen those 5x7 cards stickied up on their, like in their little offices, on the wall, on a couple of agents' offices when I've gone back. They've actually have them on the desk for their own customers to see. And I'll give them a little stack and they just stick them right in front. So when their customers come in and they're talking about an issue with their policy or whatever, the customer can grab one and they can go. So the second time you're going is to reacquaint, give them some other information in a different way. So you're giving them a smaller card and you're making that connection again. I would say don't wait too long to go because out of sight, out of mind, they'll forget you. So go back in a couple of weeks. Hey, just had these little guys made, thought they'd be helpful. Again, certifying all these things. Do you have questions on certification? You're good. Awesome. Great to see you. Bye. Couple things about your business cards that you're collecting. So you're collecting their business cards. Number one, if you're a bigger shop and you have somebody going out marketing for you, you now have a list of who that person has gone and seen. And it's a tangible list. They can't say they've been somewhere if they don't have a card, right? So it's a way for like checks and balances. If you're the one going out and doing it, it also allows you to remember who the heck you went and saw. And when I'm doing agents, I see so many in a day. I have a log and I have notes, and if I get to know people and they tell me things about their son or their daughter or their kids or their dog or whatever, I write it down so I can go back and talk to them about it. And again, we'll get into all of that in another webinar. But again, it's making that connection and educating them on certification and giving them the tools when the time comes there. When somebody says, well, I just got into an accident, they can go, oh, and they've got your little note up there, or they've got the thing in their desk drawer where they can pull it out and go, oh, you have a Kia? Well, we have a select service repair shop that's Kia certified, because now they know how important it is. And I don't know if you know that's important, but it's great if you can go to a certified facility. Now they can help be your promoter. Awesome. Free advertising. Great. So these are the tools that you want to give them. The great thing about sourcing, if you're able to do it and you're willing to do it, is you're going to know which agents are sending you the work. So you're going to know which ones you really made an impact on and maybe which ones you need to go back out and pay a little more attention to. So sourcing can be a great thing. Let's see here. So like I said, next webinar is going to be on relationship marketing. And this was a cover story I wrote. Love this picture. Competing against the big boys, how to thrive in a consolidating marketplace. So we're going to talk about the things I wrote about in this article. And this kind of dives more into creating the relationship with not only your insurance agents like we were just talking about, but other people in your community. And it's really a place where the big consolidators can't get to. They can't have the boots on the ground like us smaller independent shops. So this is where we can take advantage. So next Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, we're going to get into more of that. It's kind of battling with the big boys. So that'll be fun. Now, next is going to be our dealership partners. It's important to be reaching out to your dealership partners. Your dealerships is where you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck, because you think about it and you can go hit a lot of people in one building. Agents, you've got to go here and you got to go there. You got to sit a lot of time out. In a dealership, you go to one place and you've got, depending on how big the dealership is, you've got a couple service writers, 10 service writers, you've got salesmen, all in the same facility. So let's see, here we've got, again, for Premier Coach, this is what I take to the dealerships. to be able to provide to all of the writers so that they can give these cards out to their customers when they come in. So again, we're talking about education. The people in the dealership are going to be more willing to talk about your certifications than anybody else because you're certified with them, basically, right? So you can't give, if we were trying to save money, it would be like, well, can't I use the same cards that I use for my insurance agents with my dealerships? Not really. And why I wouldn't suggest it is they're not going to want to pass out a card of yours if it's talking about, if they're a Toyota dealership, they don't want to pass out a card where you're showing that you're Acura certified and Nissan certified and everything else. They want everything all about them. So these cards are very generic, specifically because this shop has so many certifications. To have a specific certification for each of their cards would get a little tricky, but that's actually what I would recommend if you can, is to have a card with that dealership's logo on it. Not the dealership's logo, but that manufacturer's logo on it. So let's say, for Premier Coach, they're Jaguar Land Rover certified, and that's one of the few dealerships that I would be visiting. We would do this card and we would put the Jaguar Land Rover logo on there. So when they pass it out to their customers, it's resonating on all levels, if that makes sense. There's also an option for business cards. So this is another client of mine, Telesis Collision Center out in Palmdale. So for what they provide to their dealership partners is, one of their certifications is the Pro First certification Honda Acura. So on their business cards, it's just a standard business card, but we put the certification logo on there. It's great because they're able to pass just a small business card out, and they can actually staple it to the, and the other cards as well that I was showing you. What oftentimes happens is your service writer, when they're talking about, oh yes, we do have a body shop we work with, then they can staple your business card or your card or whatever to the repair order so that when their customer leaves, they've got all your information on there. And what I try to do when it comes to sourcing is have my service writers write their name on the business card. So if they have the business card separate and they come in, which writer is sending you work, because oftentimes one writer over others will send you more work than other writers will. So again, on this business card, that's something easy you can do. Take your current business card and just kind of switch it up a little bit, put the certified logo on the front, and then on the back, we created a map from the dealership to the body shop to show them exactly how to get there. Super easy, looks good. It's awesome. So the one thing I would recommend is, if you can, when we're talking about being certified and marketing to these dealerships, it is best, well, first of all, again, you do need to be there. You need to be showing up, not all the time, but sometimes, because they need to see your face. The shops that I have that have a specific person on staff that handles the dealership accounts, so the writers know, oh, we got a body shop car in, call Joe. Everybody got Joe's number, or there's a couple people they know they can call directly. They love that. They love to feel like they're special. There's something about it, I'm telling you, that they just love the connection of that. You can have them call the shop, and the shop will dispatch somebody over there. You'll have one of your drivers or whatever head over there. You can do that, but I will tell you that your dealerships really like when they feel like they have somebody on staff that is for them to communicate with. You'll just get amazing results with it. And I think it's just, like I said, it's because they want to feel special. They're sending you work. They're doing you a favor ultimately. Although at this point, when you're certified, do they have a choice? Not really, but they want to feel like they're special. Like, hey, because when I go in as somebody that markets these guys and I walk in and just say hi, everybody always runs up and they're like, Micki, hey, how's it going? Just so you know, I had three guys go over there last week. Thanks, Joe. That's awesome. And then, hey, Miriam, how's it going? Oh, good. Just had somebody send out somebody over there today. They want you to know that they're hooking you up. and you appreciate it because there are a lot of shops that are vying for these vehicles. And although these riders should be sending to a certified shop, they aren't always, even if you're certified with that manufacturer. They're not always doing it. So anyway, these are some great tools to be able to pass out to them it makes their life easier. And it's a great little marketing tool for you to be able to use, so that when you're not there, you have something representing you. You've got a little map that can take somebody to your shop if needed. You've got the contact information, all that kind of fun stuff. And then lastly on our list was online presence. So it's tricky. How do you market yourself online when nobody's looking for you? Tricky, but it's important that we start going down this road. So first and foremost, we've got the logos on your website. So there's a few different ways you can put the logos on your website. You can do them in like a banner style like this, where it kind of scrolls by, or the person could click the button and it scrolls by. People, I do something called heat mapping on my website. So I can see where people are clicking on my clients' websites, how often they click there, what portion of their website they're looking at more than other portions. And I will tell you that although people aren't searching for certifications, they really enjoy the scrolling bar of certification logos or manufacturer logos. So if you're certified, the manufacturer's given you a certified logo that you are approved to use on your site. So you can take that and pop it on the site, and people are interested and do look at those. So I will tell you from experience, I can show you statistics and facts if you'd like, but take it from me. This will pay dividends if you put these on your website. Or even you can do it like this. If you don't want to do a scrolling bar, depending on the look and feel of your site, you can also just have all of your certifications down in a row. Eventually you'll build out pages for each of those certifications that talks about that specific manufacturer and how because eventually you'll want to go down that road as people become more and more intelligent on this topic. We'll want to have that. So for this website, they're able to, when they hover over the logo, it lights up and you can click on it and go to that page within the site. So eventually you can get there. But if nothing else, put those logos on your website, because although they don't know now, they're not really educated at this point. They will be eventually. Next, we have to put in what we call directory. There are online directories. Google is one. We've got even like Auto Body Review, CarWise, Yelp it is a review site, but it's considered like an online directory as well. Yellowpages.com, all these kinds of things. If you're going to fill out your contact information, your address, your phone number, any of that kind of stuff, put in there what you're certified in. If you have enough character spaces left, start thinking of it as you really got to shift your mindset of just keep putting it out there. Keep saying how important it is. Keep talking about that. It's going to be, because one day people will realize how important it is. So get ahead of it. Every time you talk about it, talk about how wonderful it is. And then we've got your social media posts. So I don't typically recommend my shops spend a lot of time or money in social media. And I was joking about the other day with somebody, I have a YouTube video on what I really think about social media for body shops. If you guys want to check it out on my YouTube page. I don't typically recommend you spend a lot of money there, but if you are there and you're trying to post some stuff, especially right now when it's quiet and in the shops, you've got some time and everybody is online doing something, you can create some social media posts and put it out there. I do social media for Premier Coach because I do a lot of stuff with them to push out their certs, and creating pictures. So this is a picture that you can get from somebody else's site, and then we get into all the social media aspects of how to properly do it. But just to give you some example, you can talk about we're Tesla certified and putting your logo on there and that kind of thing for other people to drive at home. Jaguar certified. Check us out. We're here. Let us know how we can help you. Specialized technicians, specialized training. And then we've got the most important thing, where are your guests? Where are your customers? Hopefully in your shop. So how are you marketing to them when they are in your facility? Super important. We can't forget this, right? Okay, so here is one of the offices of Premier Coach Auto Collision. So what we created here for them is this small sign down on the desk. Well, it's not small. It's like an 8.5 by 11, about the same size as that laminated card I was showing you, and made it into a desk stand so that when guests come in and they're checking in, naturally you look for what you know. So I drive a Jaguar. So if I were looking as I was waiting to check in, kind of standing at the counter, and I look through this little sheet of logos, what's going to pop out at me? My own vehicle, or a vehicle that I own or I have owned, right? Because we look for what we know. So I'm going to find that on there and be like, oh, I feel good. I've seen my logo on there. There's something subconsciously that happens in that moment where you feel like it's relatable. So we created a stand for the front counter so that when people come in, they get that. And then as you can see, there's stuff up on the walls with different plaques. Let's see, here's a close up picture of that one. And it's been a little bit changed since, because they have more for people to look at. And they're not going to spend a ton of time. You're not spending a ton of time just like, oh, by the way, look at this beautiful creation we've made. No, it's going to be really casual, conversational. I do recommend that. Well, then here's the last shot I'll show you of this, which is they have another shop and they put it in their customer care area. So it's another place where you could put it. And then of course you've got your plaques and whatnot up on the wall. So let's just chat about marketing in your own office for a quick second. So you definitely want to have pictures and visuals up, because as you and I both know, look at me doing this PowerPoint presentations. How many pictures have I shown you? We relate to things by seeing photos of things and things that we can connect to, so it makes sense. But the other key component to this, which again goes with the marketing, is the education side of it. So when you've got Mr. Jones calling to make an appointment for his Ford F-150, or calling to see if you repair Ford F-150s, it's a great opportunity to work with your CSRs or whoever's answering the phone, if it's a writer even, and let them know to make sure that they're explaining to people, oh, Mr. Jones, thank you for calling. So glad you're called. Actually, I'm really proud to tell you that not only do we repair Fords and Ford F-150s, we're certified, which means we have specialized technicians, we have specialized tooling, and then they can kind of give a quick little abridged version of how great it is because we're the perfect shop for you. Okay, great, let's get some information. Let's have you come on in, and you are making that customer and that guest feel like, oh, perfect. Who wouldn't want to go and have their vehicle repaired at a facility that specializes in your vehicle? Duh. So let's put it out there. They don't know unless you tell them. So if your certification is Honda, you need to be telling everybody that calls with a Honda, you're in luck. We are certified in Hondas here. And you might say it 50,000 times in a week, but you need to keep putting it out there. Now, we've talked about it before, if you've heard me, that the OEs are putting more education out to the consumer, which is great, but it doesn't mean that we stop. It's going to be a collaborative effort to let the world know how important this is, why you've put in this investment of time and money and resources to do such a thing. You've got to share with them the value of it so that they buy into it. So you can even create a word track for your CSRs answering the phone, but then you also want to make sure that your writers are bringing it up. Think about it when, let's say, Mr. Jones comes in his Ford F-150. He has not called the shop prior. He just showed up to get an estimate. What would your writer say? Typically, again, we talked about it last webinar last week, they're just order takers. Your writers are typically just writing an estimate and off somebody goes. So we talk about the shift, becoming the salesperson. Well, part of education and part of that is reminding Mr. Jones, so glad you're here, same kind of spiel. I don't know if you know this, if maybe Ford sent you over here, but if they didn't, we are Ford certified. We are experts in repairing Fords. Therefore, basically, you're taking any kind of reason he wouldn't want to leave it off the table. So it's educating, but it's also converting that customer, which is what you're going to have to do. We've got to be educating and converting to be able to go from those stages of certification where you got money going out to money coming in. And these are the ways that we can kind of bridge that gap. I think that's all I had to say on that portion of it. So let's go back to the slides. And the last thing we're going to talk about is what you don't want to spend your money on right now. So typically my body shops are like, Micki, I'm certified. Now I want you to do, I know you do SEO and my website is ranking top of the page on Google, super pumped. But now I just got certified and whatever. So now I want to do SEO on that certification. I do not recommend that you pay for SEO for your certifications yet. We will get there. We will get there. My big thing with my clients is I treat your business, and I'm talking to you about your business as if it were my own. And at the end, if you guys want to ask questions about your business and some things you're dealing with, when I answer and when I think about things, I really think about, okay, if this was my shop, knowing everything that I know, how would I deal with this? And I will tell you, I'm not going to have you spend more money just for the sake of spending money or just for, yeah, give me your money. No, it's what's best for you and your facility. Do not spend your money. And some SEO companies are chasing people with certifications, especially in the auto body world. But I will tell you, it's not worth the money that you're going to spend in SEO. Like I shared with you before, people just aren't searching those keywords yet. So don't waste your money on that. SEO is great. If you want to do SEO for your shop in general, that's wonderful, especially if you're in a really competitive market. I definitely think that's a great move. But when it comes to trying to optimize keywords for your certifications, it costs big bucks and you're not going to get a big bang for that buck. So I really don't recommend it. As we continue to educate and our customers and the world becomes more knowledgeable about certifications and they start actually looking for certifications, and like I was saying in the beginning, Tesla owners are one of the few that will look for certified shops. But you don't even, if you've got it somewhere on your shops, you don't really even need to pay for the SEO at this point yet. And we will get to a point where that will make sense, but why spend the money if you're not going to get a return on it? That's my thought on pretty much everything. Why is that? If I'm not getting a return on my investment, why am I doing it again? Then I'm just wasting money. So I'd like to open it up for questions at this point, and then just let you guys know, this is me and my team. I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, I have a YouTube channel where I'm post a bunch of random videos, and I'm trying to create more content to put on there because I get asked a lot of questions. And I wish that you guys had an opportunity to hear some of the information that other people are gleaning to use for your benefit. So anyway, connect with me. I'd love to hear from you. There's my email also. And I do a whole bunch of things, me and my team, between creating websites, optimizing those websites, graphic design logos, how to brand, helping you create business development plans, how to make your business better. Like I said, every body shop is different, but we're all business, right? So anyway, so those are some of the things that I do with myself and my team. But I would like to open it up to, if anybody has any questions, comments, things that maybe that you guys have tried that you seem to have worked well, I'd love to hear it.
So you got one question in the chat room right now, and I'm sorry, Kyle, because it made me laugh. So, what's the best way to probe a customer? I don't think you should ever probe a customer. I mean, what's the best way to probe a customer or guest for their pain points?
Well, I would never probe a guest.
That was dangerous on a webinar, I'm telling you.
Yeah. The best way to find out what pain points are for your customers, I believe, is trying to do some follow-up surveys and that kind of thing. Because and again, if you do watch my last webinar, it actually speaks to this point specifically, that most people will not share with you what their issue is and if they're upset when they leave. They just want to go. So the best way to really get the truth out of them is to follow up with an email or a text or something, and hope that they share their information with you before they go on Yelp and give you a 1-star review. That's what I would recommend doing.
It's also important that you make time in the delivery process to talk to people, instead of like, here's your keys, thanks for coming, we got your deductible payment, see you another day. So having some sort of delivery routine, well, one, having a QC process that means you're not going to screw their car up and deliver it to them in a bad format that's going to make them hate you. That's kind of key too. But but having a delivery SOP in which you spend time with a customer and actually engage them in conversation and do more than just, here's your keys, thanks, have a nice day. I think we think that customers just want to get out of there, but they kind of don't, in a way. So spend time.
And you don't know. You got to open up the door, kind of like what we were talking about before. If you don't know unless you open up the opportunity for people. And we're all pretty good at reading people to some degree. If they pick up and you can tell that they're sideways, you can try to reel them in. But oftentimes, if they don't want to share it, they will share it when they feel like they can step back and they don't have to look you in the face and tell you how you screwed up.
Yeah. One thing that you were talking about Tesla. We have a couple of Tesla shops that are having some great results marketing to owners clubs. So spending time with like the Tesla owners club or a Corvette owners club, or, there's some cult-like phenomenon around some brands. And so connecting with those owners clubs have been very beneficial. Yeah. We have a shop in Pennsylvania that's in a Porsche's owners club. So he's marketed his certifications there and got great results.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oops. Cool. Trying to go through more questions. We got some sound issues. Dave, I don't know if you can hear me now, but it definitely will be available on the playback. So if there's a sound issue, it's clean on this end. So excuse me.
Yeah, and if there are, because it's funny when I get follow-up emails and stuff after my webinars, I don't realize when I'm doing them, I don't know who I'm talking to. Let's be real. There's a list of names. I don't know most of you, and I don't know what industry you're in. So I assume I'm talking body shop, but there are people in every industry on this call right now, and on a lot of the other calls that you're doing also are webinars. So with that being said, if there's anybody out there that feels like we should be talking to you about certifications, or your staff, if you're insurance and you've got adjusters coming out and you feel like we should be talking with them differently to educate, if you're a jobber that feels like you'd like some tips on how to help out your customers, anything like that, that it doesn't just help me. I mean, you're helping all the body shops on the line to be a better steward of being certified and falling in line and helping as a team, everybody together. That would be awesome if you guys wanted to share anything.
Yeah. Exactly.
No pressure.
No pressure. We promise not to probe you.
This time.
St. Louis might be dangerous if you go see Kyle, but I don't. Poor Kyle. He's not going to get out of here.
You can't use my signs.
What would we do without you, Kyle?
You wouldn't have as many laughs, that's for sure.
I wouldn't. No, it would, no entertainment.
Well, I have an insurer messaging me, but he said there's no sound on his end, but he wanted to possibly call in.
Yeah, I got that. I can. Sound is good. So I don't know if it's a speaker issue, but like I said, the playback sound on the playback should be perfect. So
yeah,
because we can hear each other. So
well, yeah, I can hear you,
and Kyle can hear us, obviously. So
yeah,
right, he's there.
Let me see. Well, if he's got something to say, I'd love to hear it. Let me see if I can quickly pull up what our number is here. I don't even know. Oh, well.
There's a call. Hey, I see him. He's waving at us.
There you are. Oh, yeah, he can't hear. Type it in.
Yeah.
You got to connect with your audio, my friend. He's like, I can't hear you.
In the audio thing, you're going to choose speakers. So sometimes it's a test that audio connection, but great.
Yeah.
So it's just important that you, as a shop, the days of, I want to say fed work or customers spontaneously showing at our door are a little bit over. So it's important that we make sure that we market ourselves and that we're coming up with ways to differentiate ourselves in the marketplace. So OE certifications is a great way to differentiate yourself from every other shop in town if you have what they don't have. So
yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, that is round 1 for today. We are back at 3:00 this afternoon. The boys from SADA, Dan Am up in Minnesota are going to be joining us again. We're going to be talking about filtration and maintaining your filtration systems in your shop. And this is just super critical because filtration is your PPE, the fresh air, what you're breathing in a lot of cases. And those two things have to work in tandem. So we're going to talk about, how the role air plays in your personal protection. So 3:00 this afternoon. And then Micki, you're back when with us? Is it next week?
I'm back next Monday, the 20th, 4/20. Let's see, 12 o'clock Pacific time, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. So we're going to be talking about basically how to compete with the consolidators. So this was actually an article I wrote, and I got a lot. I didn't know if I was going to offend. I have a lot of friends that work for Caliber and some of these other big guys, and I got a lot of emails from them being like, "You're absolutely right. Loved it. It was a great article." So I'll share it. We'll talk about some of that stuff then.
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing a little bit now where I've had a couple markets call me and jobbers that are out driving around visiting customers are saying, hey, our locals, our dealership groups and our local independents are fairly, I don't want to say busy. I don't really want to say no one's truly busy right now, but are busier than the large national MSOs. And I think there's just some of that local brand trust, that local brand value. And so there's a lot to do there. So it'll be great.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, if you have any questions for Micki, you can always get in touch with her. She provided her contact information, or you can reach us here. And then the replay of this will be available shortly up onto YouTube. So Micki, thanks again for another great episode.
Thanks, Kristen.